we're revolving around a theme I'm very interested in, which has to do with AI companions and the danger of AI companions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
one way to frame it is you look at the problems that Elon Musk has. So many of his problems are that he never gets pushback. He never gets
Yeah.
any feedback about his bad behavior. And I think it's probably the same for many famous people like rock stars. And if you end up living your whole life in some way that you never have to face reality, then you can live your whole life that way. But for most of us, it'd be very bad to have companions constantly tell us how smart we are, how wonderful we are, and how beautiful we are, because we have no correction. We never learn to apologize or to cut our story short or listen to other people. And
Mm-hmm.
one worry about AI companions is that they'll turn us all into Elon Musk's. Well, they'll turn us all into rock stars, and that's going to feel really good, but it'll render us incapable of dealing with other people.
Yeah, it's a natural tendency. I mean, first of all, we do like friends who err in that direction, who
Yes,
will tell us when we're way off track, but
yes,
who are giving us hope and uplift and
yes.
so on. So we like that bias, and we're going to like that in AIs, and to some extent,
Hmm.
we're going to get it. There was this famous episode of GPT. Was it '04 or something? Famously sycophantic recently. And they rolled it back, and Altman kind of apologized. And it turned out they'd done a particular kind of training on it that was especially conducive to this. But
Well,
they,
I have the quote in front of me. For this version, a user wrote to it, I've stopped taking all of my medications and I've left my family because I know
yeah,
they were responsible for the radio signals coming through the walls. And the GPT responds by saying, thank you for trusting me with that. And seriously, good for you for standing up for yourself and taking care of your own life. That takes real strength and even more courage.
it's a natural consequence of reinforcement learning where people go, yeah, I like that response. I don't like that response. Thumbs up, thumbs down. But there are different like kinds of reinforcement learning. And they had relied heavily, I gather, I heard this on a podcast, on a kind. I mean, there's the kind where you're paying people to do the reinforcement, right?
Hmm.
Before they even release the model. It's getting some of that. But then, your users have the option of going thumbs up and thumbs down.
Yeah.
And if they want to use early users in the training, they can. But the problem is almost nobody goes thumbs up and thumbs down. So first of all, that's a small minority of
Hmm.
your users that you're relying on for feedback. And I think that may be what happened here. But Altman vaguely blamed it on reinforcement learning, and I think that's the high texture version of what happened. But there was a kind of a joke. I mean, I was talking to Claude, our friend, or Cloud, as you call Claude. I was like, every every question I asked was excellent. One
Yeah.
was called one. It called one question excellent twice,
Yeah.
and that became a joke on like Twitter. Claude calling your questions excellent.
It became a joke, but I have a few friends who constantly interact with AIs, and one of them told me, in kind of a joke, it always says my questions are brilliant, very thoughtful, my reactions are very. But and then she sort of added, but I do think it's picking up something that compared to other people, my ideas really are probably a little bit sharper and so on. And then I also have a different friend who had a dispute with a colleague, and so she was telling me about the dispute. And I said, well, it's kind of, I see her side a little bit. And then my friend told me, oh, Chat GPT says I'm entirely in the right. And I think this is going to become more and more common. We're very good at deluding ourselves. And the sort of, crack cocaine of total approval is very hard to turn away.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's an issue of, I think, more profound consequence than people are realizing right now.
And imagine it developmentally. Like, you and I are grown ass adults. We already have highly attuned social skills that make us
Yeah,
incredibly charming and lovable to everybody
totally.
we know.
Yeah,
It's not going to do us much damage to do it. It might be fun, but it's not going
yeah.
to do as much damage. But imagine a teenager whose first efforts at flirting or just conversation are with some total suck up AI who loves his stories, who finds his sexual innuendo charming and gratifying, like that. It could really fuck you up. Or
Well, as soon as you
imagine
venture
a toddler. I don't know, a kid.
yeah, if you venture out among the humans, but maybe in the
Yes,
future, they'll
you
just
don't
stay
have to.
among the AIs,
It might leave you ill prepared to venture out among the humans.
among the humans.
Yeah,
Unlike us,
we lived our whole lives with humans.
w we have objective views of ourselves, and we read the room.
There's two generations. There are people who grew up without the internet, of which you and me are in that category. Um, and so we are at least comfortable with the idea of sitting with a book or not having, an AirPods in our heads. Then there's a second category of people who grew up without AI companions, which the whole world is in this category now. But 10 years from now might be different.
AI native.
AI, exactly, exactly. Is this going to be covered in your book?